Mafex fans, our long national nightmare is finally over. Huntress has arrived. Well, hello there everybody, I'm Photo Dave, this is Toypixx, and in this video, I'm going to be reviewing the Mafex Huntress, and I'm pretty stoked about that because Mafex. Now, it's not going to be an all-in, insanely comprehensive review. What I'm going to talk about are the things that I think Mafex went above and beyond with, and a couple things that were a little less above and beyond that kind of annoyed me. So that's what you have to look forward to. And of course, at the end of the video, she'll get her photo score. But before we keep going, please remember to click the link in the video description below. That will get you 10% off all in-stock items at Entertainment Earth. And if you spend $59 or more, you'll get free domestic shipping. But if you don't want to click that link and you're just watching this on TV, go to Entertainment Earth, just use the code Toypixx to get all those same deals. And if you're ordering pre-orders and you click that link, just remember that if you spend $59 or more on those, to enter the code FREESHIP59 to also get free domestic shipping. Now, whew, with all that out of the way, let's get to the review. Ladies and gentlemen, the wait for Huntress is finally over. And I have to say, with this one, Mafex really kind of spoiled us. But before we get into Huntress herself, I figure we're going to have to just talk real quick about the accessories. I'm not going to linger too long on any one thing because there are a couple things about this release that I've never experienced with Mafex figures, and I think they're pretty cool. So, let's just get into all this real fast. We have the good old-fashioned Mafex stand, along with all the parts that come with it. Honestly, I don't really use them. It's only because I don't tend to use stands for my photography, because they're just really tough to Photoshop out. And when I'm holding on to the figures, or when I have the figures, my way of storage is basically just in a drawer. So we've got this piece as well. And, whoop, coming in from this side, we have this piece. So these are just little grips to grab onto around her waist. I think one could grab onto her leg, maybe under her crotch a little bit to hold her up that way. Those Mafex people are crazy. You can see she's holding her staff. She has these hands. I wanted to show them. Those are just the opposite hands of the ones that are on her right now. A holding hand and kind of the splayed out hands. She has these, and I don't know how to quantify these. I don't know what to say about them. Well, quantify, I guess there's two, but qualify them. I don't know what to call these. My guess is she was initially supposed to come with a crossbow, and these were the hands that would hold said crossbow. But obviously we know that Warner Brothers went nuts, doesn't want them coming with triggered weapons. She doesn't have the crossbow, but Super Action Stuff does, so I might have to get that latest Casket of Cruelty, I think it's called. Anyway, skipping on now, we have just good old-fashioned relaxed hands. And of course, what's an action figure without fists? So there's the hands, and again, it's Mafex, so they're going to spoil us. Here's the extra angry Huntress head. It's good stuff all around, and their paint job, everything's always clean with Mafex. It's like, I don't even know how to describe how great this stuff is. There's a reason that it's my favorite line going. Alright, here we go. Just looking at Huntress here. Ah! The light hated me for a minute. She just has the really clean, good look. I mean, this is a great looking figure. I know if you're on the fence about her, I think you can still find her fairly cheaply. It's not too bad yet, but she's amazing. As I'm looking at her, there was one thing that kind of bugged me a little bit about the way that Mafex did this, and I don't know if it's a design. I haven't looked at the comics to check if it works this way, but you see how pulling back on her stomach there's a break between the purple strap and the belt. My gut is that should be connected to the belt so that you don't want to bend her back too often or that's going to break up that whole look. But maybe it's something that's separate from the belt, and if that's the case, we're good to go. I just don't know well enough when it comes to the comic, so that kind of bugged me. Something else that bugged me, and I alluded to this with a little short review that I did, is there's a part on her that I need to use some oil on, and that is... Why is this stuff always so much tougher on camera? Let's see. Here we go. Okay. That is her neck. Right? Let's see about zooming in there a bit. Okay. Not zooming in, but here, this piece, I can't get the piece inside, this ball joint, to rotate. And it's kicked off to the side a little bit, so her head ends up being kicked off to the side. So I'm going to need to add some oil to that. That's just kind of a tight squeeze, which is kind of a pain. Now, something I wish Mafex would improve is the elbow range of their female figures. You can see that's bent as much as it can go. It is past 90, but it's not tons past 90. And for a comparison here, this is an Action Force female figure, and look at how much more bend there is there. Now, it's a thicker arm, so it probably makes it a little easier. But still, if Mafex can find a way to make it happen, I would definitely like there to be a little more of a bend when it comes to the elbow. But that's just a general Mafex complaint. That's not really the Huntress per se. Now, the two things about Huntress that have me really excited about this release, because oftentimes it feels like toy companies kind of find their formula and they just ride it out as long as they can without ever trying to make any kind of real improvement. One is, and I think there might be a Superman figure that has this, but this is the first time I've had it. Her cape has wire along the edges and the bottom. So along the sides and the bottom. So you can do all kinds of things with this. It's also kind of a stiffer, I don't know what to call it, like a polyester, obviously it's going to be like a nylon of some kind, but it just has a different feel than the capes of other figures, and it feels like it's going to hold its shape better with the wire, and it feels like you could get cooler crinkles, but it also feels like maybe it would get a little more wrinkly if you went too nuts. I'm not sure, but it doesn't matter so much to me. I just really like the way that this cape functions. You can do a lot more with it than, say, the Batman that I have, the Hush Batman, which I love that figure. But if he had a little bit of wire in the bottom of that cape, I could do a lot more with him, posing-wise. Now, obviously that would be a pain with the way that the bottom of his cape is shaped, but still, it would be really cool. But yeah, I love the way the cape is done. And something else that they did here, now, before we get into this, I'll just go over something real quick. Obviously, her whole shorts design is not comic accurate. I do know that much. This whole area here, it was more like it would be bikini bottoms going on. And we don't know why it was changed. It could be that somebody at Warner Brothers decided we need to make it so she's covered up a little more. It's a little more modest. And then the argument could be made, well, yeah, but what about Poison Ivy, who doesn't have that? Maybe the person making the decisions changed. We don't know. It could also be that Mafex decided, you know what, since they're going to make us do this anyway, if it was a Warner thing, maybe it was a Mafex thing, but like I say, considering what a lot of female figures look like over in Japan, I'd be willing to bet it was a Warner thing. But because Mafex had to do this, they thought, you know what we can do, though, just to make people happy? We can add a thigh cut. This is something I've never had on a Mafex figure, and I have quite a few of them. So that's pretty cool, and I've always argued that you don't need a thigh cut. Let me show you real quick here. Oops, hand fell off. This is the Mafex Hush Harley. You don't need a thigh cut, but the reason I did that off camera is because it's a lot harder to get her leg to do that without a thigh cut. So because Huntress has this thigh cut, you're going to be able to do things like that a whole lot easier. No worries, done. So yeah, that's pretty cool, and that's something that I'd like to see going forward. Although it doesn't look like Poison Ivy has that, and I think that Mafex is a little McFarlane-y when it comes to how they want to handle this stuff. They don't want to break up the sculpt any more than they have to, and I can't fault them. I think that their sculpts are pretty remarkable. I love everything they do. Mafex is that company that if I could buy every possible thing they released, I would do it, just because I think they handle their licenses incredibly well. And now, because I can and because you expect it, it's size comparison time. So, after all that, what do I think of Huntress? I'm a fan. I love the wire running all along the cape. That's something I've never had in my collection before. So that's going to be a lot of fun to play with. Just love, like, it's stupid how much I love that, to be perfectly honest. I love that she's got the thigh cut. While I will always maintain that the thigh cut, the way that Mafex constructs their figures, is unnecessary, it is going to make her a lot easier to pose for photography, which is, of course, why I do this stuff. So I'm going to be pretty happy with that. I'm a little less impressed with, and again, I have to look this up online, but with kind of how you pull this back here and there's that split. I don't like that much, but I don't know what they could have done unless they made the whole belt almost a floaty piece. And that doesn't feel like it's as much a Mafex kind of thing. And of course, I'm a little disappointed that I'll have to oil up the neck so that I can get it to turn well. If you look, her head is slightly tilted, just a bit. It's not bad, but that's something that kind of bums me out a little bit. Nothing too bad, because I know it can be fixed, so that's not too bad. When it comes to QC, that's really my only problem. And so, with all that said, let's give this kid a photo score of, let's be honest guys, extra heads, extra hands, the sculpt, the detail work, the paint, all that's good. She's got the accessories, she's got the natural movement, articulation. I went totally out of order, but it's because she's a Mafex figure, and you know she's going to nail the photo score. So Huntress gets a photo score of 7 out of 7. And those, ladies and gentlemen, are my thoughts when it comes to the Mafex Huntress. I'm a fan. Now, comment below and let me know, are you going to be picking her up? Are you skipping her? What do you think of Mafex as a line in general? Are you a fan? Are you not a fan? I gotta tell you, if you're into action figure photography and you've never picked up a Mafex figure, I really recommend giving one a test drive. Find a used one on eBay, because I know they can be pricey. Just get one. Test it out. See what you think. I don't think you'll be disappointed. Now, as always, thank you very much for checking out this video. I know how important your time is, and the fact that you decided to spend some of it watching my nutty vids is always appreciated. And that's what I've got for this one, folks. So until next time, have fun and happy snapping. See ya.